It's the only thing you ever do. Hopping into game number 2 between VortiX and B.
It looks like B's going for that early military school. We see 5 villagers there on the stone. And he's going to be moving a villager forward for that school.
And VortiX got the poop on a stick spawn, I think. Or, wait, no, check that again. Actually, I think he got the... I lie. It's not poop on a stick. It's actually just like, you know, your favorite ice cream on a stick. I'm pretty sure he has an arc emplacement there that covers gold, like half the wood line.
Ooh.
Stone as well. Like, it doesn't get much better than this.
Yeah, that's very nice for him. We did actually see this matchup yesterday between B and Marine Lord. And Marine Lord did actually take the win with the Holy Roman Empire. He was able to defend from B's early military school plus a barracks with a double barracks of his own.
Yeah, I think like HRE are really dangerous for this, where if you bait yourself into a long feudal where you can't get any key conditions, like killing villagers, for example, like you'll just lose because it'll turn into a mass men-at-arms fiesta, right? And it's just like HRE do it so well. And if you're both going into like, obviously you can't do it as the Optimus, but like if you're kind of like mix and matching against that, like what's your counter? You have to go up in age. And we've seen, you know, if someone's coming to your base with 20+ men-at-arms and you're transitioning crossbows, it's only effective when you get enough of them, right? You're actually countered when there's that many men-at-arms clapping you. And something we did already highlight is that you have a limited space. So building like, you know, 6 archery ranges suddenly to afford that, there isn't really the space for that unless you come off your starting island. Okay, love it. VortiX does the opening with the racks. It's just such a good opening. It prevents any aggro now from B, who also had to go for the racks himself. But remember, the difference here is because the HR's economy is so good, VortiX committed to both the racks and the docks.
Yeah, but the question is, can VortiX keep up the pace though? Because you got to remember, B's getting that free spearman every now and then from that military school. We already see 2 spearmen out here. That does mean that villager is going to have to fall back. But first spearman out for VortiX. We'll have to see if he looks to drop down a barracks in his base. A second one. Because he's not going to be able to keep up with B's production here. And B actually pulling a villager here.
Wow.
Is he looking to drop an outpost down?
Yeah. You drop an outpost super aggressively right to the left side of the dock here. And VortiX doesn't have the numbers to stop this right now. Like you mentioned, he hasn't got a second rack. So B has the close by racks going. I think he didn't get a military school at home, right? This is just active production. But he's just ahead. And at this stage, like, spearmen are kind of affordable. So you can just keep this up at an instant rate, right? Like, VortiX has a better economy, sure, but that comes really in feudal age. Right now, he's only buffing 8 villagers for an extra 40% gathering rate.
Yeah, VortiX actually, we saw for a split second there, the prelate rocked up on the screen. It looks like he's just chilling back with the scout for the time being.
Yeah, but that
now
makes it
going to
worse.
be being pulled forward.
Like, remember, combat healing got nerfed. And your prelate just ran out here in a fight that you just don't have the numbers to win. Like, you can't out-heal concentrated attacks from the spears. I think this is pretty grim for VortiX. Like, if B had gone for a dock as well, then VortiX's play is really smart here. But VortiX didn't scout that B went no dock. So going dock plus racks, while usually an optimal build for the HRE, is too much.
And there's a big hit on VortiX's economy right now with that prelate not being at home. Yeah, it doesn't look like he's dropped down a second barracks either. It looks like he's just going to be completely giving up on this barracks, and behind that, he's going to be losing the dock as well.
And it should be highlighted that this prelate pull timing is absurdly early because VortiX is that bad off. Most HRE players don't want to make this pull until like 8 or 9 spears, and by then they've taken like 2 skirmishes and they have heavily injured spears, so it's viable. VortiX done this with the intent of combat healing because he was that far behind. And as we just mentioned, combat healing got nerfed. For those who didn't read the patch notes, it went from 8 health a second to 4, which, funnily enough for the HRE, you know, for anyone who's played them, like olden days, like OG HRE players, that was actually how it was when the healing rate was incorrect. You know, but we've only seen this build, this part of the comp, ever since that got buffed today. It's just too much. I think B could turn this into a very quick, like 10 or 12 minute game now.
We see VortiX going to be going to the feudal age. transitioned a lot of villagers over onto that gold. He wants to get it up as quickly as he can. Not going to be going for another dock. Doesn't make any sense up against what B's got right here. But we see he's going to be pushed off that gold. And now the Ark and Chapel is going to get dropped down. No mine work today, unfortunately. But still, that's a golden spot right there for the Ark and Chapel.
I mean, honestly, like the mine work, it's one of those debated names like Tower Victory, right? When it was always defeat. Like, it doesn't work, it never works. So I'm glad he's going for the Ark.
Yeah.
Ignore my numbers as well. I just realized, like, I don't know why I said 8. It's 7, I think it's 7, and it used to be 3.5. I don't know where I got 8 from, but still, it's like, it's I know what it is because I used to measure it compared to the Spearman numbers, and Spearman damage got buffed. It used to be like 7, now it's 8. Oh, it used to be 6, now it's 7. So I was like comparing those metrics. Which, by the way, just makes early Spearman aggro even better than it used to be, right? It was something that got slept on is when they made that change, which was a big buff for the Mongols at the time. I think it's back at the start of Wololo. They buffed the Spearman Dark Age damage. Makes it so much more effective now. It's why you see B now at 15 Spearmen with no sign of stopping.
VortiX is back in the base of B, though, with those Spearmen. Going to be delaying that age up from him.
Apologies for that, folks. Looks like we are back on the good stuff. Enough of my exploration in the esports world. We're just going to explore this game as we are back into Game 2 of VortiX and B. For those that are just tuning in, VortiX was able to give a quick kick to the gonads of B in Game 1 in a Mali and Ottoman matchup where the Ottomans came out ahead. And here in Game 2, the Ottomans are once again ahead. Oh, he wants us so bad. He's actually still going to... No. Okay, I like that from B. He intentionally pulled one of the villagers slightly back to try and body block. So you actually almost got away with murder there. But instead, VortiX will be claiming the scalp.
Do we see B going for an aggressive dock here? Yeah, we do.
Aggressive is like a pretty big understatement. He dropped it more or less on top of it. VortiX, man, this dock is like an all-in type play from VortiX where you're only building naval vessels out of it. And if you lose a big fight, like, you just call GG. Because if anyone's been like paying attention to Canal so far, you may notice that no player really builds a dock at his side, and there's a good reason for that. Shoreline fish they are like, you know, Roswell's aliens. You might think they exist, but like there's no factual proof of it, right? Like they don't actually exist anywhere on the outside. If you want to get the most fish, you need to be at the center.
Yeah. But VortiX is... Oh, well, B finally now reaches the feudal age. But that does mean he can start to put on the pressure here, as we see the Hulk and a galley already putting pressure onto B. So maybe this aggressive dock was a little bit of a mistake. Maybe positioning it behind that wall may have been a better idea. As we can see, he's going to be losing a couple fishing boats right there.
It's quite bloodless, right? Like he didn't really bring anything to defend this. He didn't set up naval vessels first of all. He didn't set up an outpost. B does still have the advantage on land, although... Are you noticing a problem with this military school in Rax? It's
nowhere for a blacksmith to go?
Yeah, exactly. Spot on. You get a golden star. It's like you're going to have to spend double to boost up both of them's production rates.
But I don't think that B's going to be looking to use that many more spearmen, though. We see VortiX going into very heavy arch composition, which, I mean... That's not a composition you want to be going for as the Holy Roman Empire.
You do still have a military school out there, though. Right? Those are expensive. You definitely want to use that for something as the game goes on. Demo ship out. Nice play there by B. So it does deny the dock going up, but a salute and a return of the favor. Not most effective use of demo ships, though. We have to remember these are incredibly tunky buildings. The dock's up at 1750 HP. Although B is drunk driving a bit with the demos. They don't really seem to be finding the values looking for.
VortiX, he's looking for that castle age. It's got to be a Burgrave at this point in time, right? I mean, saying that, he does still have a somewhat of a fishing eco here. Being able to push B back off on this side of the map.
I think that just guarantees it being Burgrave, right? Like, if you get back on the fishing, you can afford unlimited men-at-arms push. I just don't like this from B. Like, stop demo ships compared to like getting an archer ship out now.
Ooh,
VortiX
that demo.
almost got a big hit there. It's so difficult to do these days with the delay on demo ships triggering and how small their AoE is. Unfortunately, it doesn't get enough.
I reckon we should bring back the old demos.
I miss them. I used to call them intercontinental nuclear, tactical nuclear demo ships. It was an appropriate name.
But B could be under some trouble here shortly. I mean, he doesn't have enough resources in the bank to go Castle Age himself anytime soon. And a Burgrave play here could be game-ending for him.
B, what are we doing here, bud?
Spending all the resources on demo ships.
Okay, so like, there's a reason behind this, right? And it's like he doesn't have much food safely at home, so he doesn't want to spend it. No, there's that. Okay, I can't. I was spitballing sort of, but it made sense that there is plenty of food back there, but B is prioritizing wood and gold instead. So I actually don't have a great answer for why so many demo ships. He probably just felt like he couldn't get enough naval out if he'd done anything not demo ship related. But then again, we just saw like it takes 3 demo ships to kill an archery ship. It's not exactly what I call a desirable trade.
Yeah, and now VortiX has quite an advantage here when it comes to the economy, and he's going to be going up with the Regnant's Cathedral. So not going with the landmark that we were suspecting, but instead going for the greedier option of the Regnants.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because VortiX has been defined as this guy who likes to just like balls against the walls, right? Like just slam it. Like he likes to go fast and end the game fast if he can. Feels like he can go a lot later though. I'd say VortiX has one of the best defensive HRE playstyles I've ever seen. I think most people can recall at least one game where VortiX miraculously holds the HRE, where most players would have easily just got slapped. So it kind of makes sense he's playing for this later timing. And he's going to be going into those stables units, into the knights, right? Because B shouldn't have many spears. Considering VortiX pushed archers, B should be completely off spears by now.
Yeah. This could be a great timing for VortiX with knights. Question is, can he pick up that many relics? I mean, B's still got quite a few, a bit of an army out at the moment.
Okay.
Especially with those Spahi.
So Merlin, like, you know, we have to think about the economical impact of all those demo ships that B built. I want you to describe to me why B built so many demo ships without using drooling on your keyboard as a reason. Because it's still haunting me. Like, it was a lot of resources.
Yeah, a lot of resources. Like, demo ships, they can buy a lot of value, but if used ineffectively, they're a one-time use ship.
Mm-hmm. But
And,
one on its own,
100,
right? Like, one on its own?
160 resources just sort of wasted each time.
It's tough, right? Like, because I think it's one of the situations if you have, like, 2, you can kill fishing boats, you can kill, like, most things, right? It's like the value of 2 demo ships together, it's not like an additive type thing. It's exponential. The value is insanely higher in that situation. Speaking of insane value, it's that time. It's time that I feel like we don't see very often because most H3 players like to build a burger instead. Maybe it looks quite delicious, but I could nibble on a little bit of gold as well, which is exactly what VortiX is looking to do. Relics on their way home.
Something I was wondering just there. The Wololo was going off and the meta was in the radius. Can you convert a meta? I would assume you can. That would be a little bit overpowered, wouldn't it? Imagine the Holy Roman Empire player with a meta.
I think like you should be able to, right? Because it's like you can Wololo King. There's no reason why you can't.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what? Like, to be honest, if someone loses a meta to a Wololo, it's kind of on them. It's one of the fastest units in the game, right? It's like grandpa reaction speeds, or you got so outplayed is the only reason you should be losing a meta. Also, one of the stupid things that you could always do in AoE4 that I still am tilted by and don't think should be a thing is the fact that you can hit the delete key and delete units quicker than a Wololo can complete.
Yeah.
Please change that relic. Like I don't know, just like disable delete if you're in Wololo range. Something like that. I think it's so cheap to what is one of the few hyper big PogChamp comeback mechanics that AoE4 has.
VortiX at the moment only has 2 relics in so far. The other 3 are being camped by B on the south side. But still, 2 relics is a decent amount.
Sorry, I'm going to keep ranting on this. I'm obsessed on that fort now. Like, what is the logic behind a unit deleting itself as well, like from realism? Is it like, Wololo, oh no, I only just finished reading my religious book. No way I'm going to read yours as well. Sudoku. Like, come on. All right, we can focus on the castle lane now because it's in on both sides. There is no denying that VortiX has a very clear lead right now, though.
Yeah, the knight numbers looking really strong for him. He's almost up to 7 now. Looks like he's building up quite a force on water as well. Looks to still put the pressure on there. This has been a complete turnaround. B was in such good position following that Dark Age pressure he put on with the spears. It seems like it's been a bit of a turnaround. VortiX's eco just so far ahead of B's right now. And you're counting the relics as well, which is almost up to 4 at this point in time.
Also, like, B's choice of units doesn't make much sense right now, right? Like, you've seen your opponents on knights. Like, the spearmen, of course, you know, just dead brain spears. But you're on a very open map. Most players tend to opt into some crossbows right now. The other weird part you may notice is it looks like B invested some Vizier points in spawning 2 Janissaries. I don't...
Or he might be making them.
Is he?
In the game that B versus Marine yesterday, B was actually spamming out Janissaries. He was just going full on Janissary plus Spearman. And it worked somewhat effectively.
Yeah. I can see that.
And especially with what VortiX is making right now with such a heavy knight composition, it's kind of perfect.
But hear me out. Like, he's had 2 Janissaries for a while. And the number still hasn't... I'm really hoping he just built 2 Janissaries because, like, that option with the council points to spawn is like it's a clutch recovery mechanic or an endgame mechanic, right? Like, you don't do it optimally if you can choose not to. So, and it looks like we are getting more Jannies. So this comp looks a bit better. Like, we saw a few players do this really well. I think Spearmen have kind of come to the forefront again, right? Like, yesterday we saw some games where someone I can't remember which players it was. I think it was Delhi versus... It was Lennox, one of the Lennox games. Delhi versus... I can't remember what the other Civ was. Apologies. But, like, he was being rushed by men-at-arms. So it was, like, 20-plus men-at-arms. And Lennox's reaction was just to spam spears to buy time. And then, like, 4 or 5 crossbowmen deleted the men-at-arms army because they just couldn't access them.
B now up to 6 Janissaries. So he is continuing to make them. And you got to remember, these guys have been buffed. If I quickly take a look, Janissaries now shoot 0.25 seconds faster.
And they do 16 damage base, right? And then double that against cavalry, if I recall correctly.
Yeah.
It's pretty high, right? Like, against a men-at-arms, that's over 50% of your damage per shot going through on an increased attack speed compared to what you used to have. Then you have to add in a meta, which I'm really hoping B does, by the way. Like, that, I see this so often in Ottoman builds when they reach Castle Age. Sometimes it makes sense because you might be up against, like, crossbow comps and you metas get sniped straight away. But you're up against the HRE, and they have no ranged units to really speak of other than 11 archers. So getting a meta in there could just disintegrate VortiX's army.
Yeah. And you got to remember, Janissaries don't do that bad either up against men-at-arms. Obviously, the Holy Roman Empire love their men-at-arm usage. And Janissaries don't do too terribly, but look at the villagers being killed here.
It's because he's getting desperate. He has to get out of his base and find more food, right? For B to keep this army going, right? Like, sure, he's got shoreline fish for the time being, but there's so much more being exploited by VortiX that B can't access. Remember, VortiX did go for that second TC to the north. And also, HRE at home of an Archon can easily transition into farms better than every Civ bar the English.
VortiX going to be underneath the town center here. Doesn't even have Iron Undermesh in quite yet, so it's going to be taking quite a lot of damage from that town center. But still, that's a lot of idle time right there for B. Going to be losing an Imam as well.
I would love to see VortiX build more prelates. Like, there's 4 sacred sites on this map, so if you can just waddle your way out, 100 gold, like, grab one of them, you'll very quickly just cash back, right? Because B has a very static army for the most. I love this Maga now, by the way. someone that we always forget is Siege does get bonus damage against Naval, as we're witnessing as VortiX is going to lose all his defensive fleet.
Yeah, that's a lot of ships going down right there. Just that mangonel. Looks like B is looking to put the pressure on now to the northern side where VortiX has his second town center.
Respect the Lansk. Just back away. Staggered formation would definitely save B a lot more troops, but it's like it gets out of range quite quickly there. This is one of the benefits of going for the Regnitz build, by the way. When you go for Burgrave, you can't layer in Lansk. It's too expensive. But VortiX has that flexibility now with 4 relics garrisoned and the double gathering he's getting from each of those.
And B's number of Janissaries really starting to build up. I love seeing Janissaries out of the Ottomans, but they're such an expensive unit to produce. And B's going to start to face this issue with when it comes to gold.
Yeah.
He's only got the 1 gold left in base, and each Janissary costs 100. So that's 30 Janissaries you can make from each gold mine.
I think B could switch trade, and it would be a good play right now. Because VortiX isn't really building cavalry anymore, so like he has to guard, right? Like when you go for this type of comp that VortiX has gone for, you have no flexibility. So B should try to exploit that with trade. But for now, he's just focusing on shutting VortiX out. Food source is going to be gone. VortiX, I don't think he's made a farm transition yet. This is going to sting. Okay, well, ignore me. He is underway, but at this stage in the game, I wouldn't really say that that's going to sustain his army.
Yeah, he does have 4 relics in the bank though, and don't forget that is those are Regnant's relics. So you can continue to pump out these Landsknechts, and that's exactly what he's doing. But he doesn't have that much of an answer to that. Sure, he's got Janissaries, but Janissaries, they aren't the best up against Landsknechts, especially if they get in range.
It's the double mango I'm worried about. VortiX is yet to make a siege transition, and he's running out of wood fast, right? Like, I think he's already exhausted his safe line. So if he gets pushed back here, he has next to no access to wood. In fact, he's playing risky on the south side just to move out for resources. If B ever spots that, it's fully exploitable.
Be looking in a very good position right now to take out this second town center.
VortiX so desperate to get more farms down. It's like, well, this is a battlefield, but villagers got to work. I mean, they're harvesting straggler trees right now. You can feel how badly he needs more wood. B. Notice he just keeps sending a few troops. Delay the Lanks. Don't give him the wraparound. Speaking of wraparounds, VortiX does go for the backstab. Mangoes fully exposed here. Great strike by VortiX. But can he beat out the Janissary is the real question mark. It doesn't feel like he's really got any Lanks left to do this. Will he's forced to retreat?
Still an expensive loss there for B, losing both of those mangonels. These Janissaries are expensive as well. You do not want to be losing those.
And the backline's built for VortiX. Is actually really impressed with the way he took that. He eliminates the mangonels, and it kind of looks like he needs to stop fighting, but someone we kind of neglected is the fact he's got 25 range units here. B now has to go for a full retreat. He does at least still have control of the strait, so VortiX won't get too aggro. But we have to remember that VortiX did extend south side for eco, so he's very happy with the way this just played out.
Looks like B's going to be making his farm transition now as well. And he's completely pushed VortiX off the water.
Yeah, and the risky part about being pushed off a water like this is exactly what you're seeing, is how close to the base Naval can actually get. Oh, this is frustrating. It's also frustrating for B. You're like, can we just, I don't know, like, let's just push the ship up on shore. I don't care if it's stuck here. Can we go a little bit more upriver, please?
Demo ship, though.
Oh, nice hit. B barely keeping the other one alive. Now, which would win? A crossbow or a fully armed ship? And don't come back again.
I find it very interesting that VortiX has placed all of his relics inside of the Regnants and the monastery. I always find it interesting when players decide to do that instead of putting them in outposts. I mean, just a couple outposts, stick the relic inside, upgrade them. They become really, really good defensive structures.
That's true, but we have to remember VortiX hasn't had much map control, so he's maybe a little paranoid about that. You know, the alternative is that you could always stick it inside of a castle. Oh, wait a second. No castles allowed. For anyone's like, why is VortiX not built the Magano line? You can't in this round, folks. No keeps, no stone walls, no stone towers. All you filthy turtles have to work harder if you want to stay in the game.
VortiX, we can see he's got 2 Springles in the queue. This time he's prepared and ready for the Mangonels from B. It looks like B's still committing to those Janissaries. You can see he's up to 36 of them, and he's still got more in the queue. We see 6 more in the queue right there.
Yeah. I also...
That's a lot of Janissaries.
I feel like VortiX, like, I love the fact he's got so many Lansk, but like, with all this gold, I'd love to see a few more Prelates being pumped out. Right? Not so much for the combat healing. We know that got nerfed. But it's the buff, the Inspired Warriors, right? The amount of damage you add into a Lansk, like, it's crazy. You add, I think it's 3 extra damage, which essentially takes a Lansk neck from a Castle Age unit to an Imperial Age unit in terms of damage output.
I think the fishing for B is going to start to run out soon, though. And that will mean they're looking a little bit more even when it comes to the economic count. Or, well, in saying that, VortiX, he's got quite a lead now when it comes to that villager count. And he's got 4 relics behind this as well.
Yeah.
But you've always got to count in the military schools for the Ottoman.
And he hasn't hit the ceiling with his farms yet. VortiX will get there soon, though. That's when I get worried for B. B is trying to force a clash. VortiX bring those Springles in range. That should force B to just keep retreating here. Meta does get sniped, which is going to slow down this retreat. Now, Men-at-Arms are there to hold the front line for the time being, but Springles are in range. Mangos are going to start getting sniped out. Remember, B, he doesn't want to have this kind of tickle at each other affair, especially when it's his Janissaries that are being sacrificed.
Yeah, the amount of Janissaries there, so huge, but VortiX is just pushing forwards.
Yeah, he's got this. VortiX had a little bit of a missed micro there. For a moment, the Springles were in formation, so it slowed him down. But now that he's full speed, he can try to go ahead, but Sapai wrap around the back. Has B jumped the gun here? That's not many cavalry units.
It looks like Janissary is going to be just trying to do as much damage as they possibly can.
What are they doing there? They just ran out of ammo. They just pile onto that one dead guy, start hitting him with their guns. Oh, boy.
Mangonel now coming in for VortiX. B doesn't have any Springles. What's he going to do to deal with this? He's got nothing. He's only got 3 Spahi remaining.
Oh, this is so bad. He's trying to trade Janissaries to the Springles, but remember, the Springles have like 20 ranged armor, so you're doing 1 damage per Janny. You can't take that fight ever.
He's got a demo ship coming in from behind, but VortiX's army is nowhere near the shoreline anymore.
Heavy hit there as well.
Mangonel shot. Mangonel able to just push B back, right back into his base.
And that demo ship done a grand total of nothing. Another 160 resources down the drain for B. Folks, don't think that this is like B has another recovery fight. If he loses here, he loses everything. This is his military production. Nothing at home. It's all here. Everything that matters anyway.
He's trying his best to mass up the Spahi. You can see he's got 4 in the queue at the moment. But it's not enough. I mean, look at the numbers that VortiX has at the moment. We've got more men-at-arms and Landsknechts making their way forward as well to defend these siege weapons.
And I know I say all on this screen. Yeah, I know B's got like half his production builds at home, but like if he loses these, if these shut down, he's already lost. VortiX's economy is already so much better off. If his military production is double B's, which it will be if these can't operate, there's no way you defend. And folks, that Janissary count was almost 50 when we last looked at it. B has already lost half of his premium army. And as we know so often, when your premium army gets wiped, you can't recover it like it's nothing, especially in a game like this.
Now B's farming eco is going to be put under pressure as well. That's something you really can't afford to lose at this point in time.
I just love
got some berries to the north, but...
Yeah, but like, do you really want to be in berries at this stage when you know that the Nature player is like arcaning it up at home? You know, maybe he's got a little fish left. He's getting everything he wants. I mean, the part that so impressed me is the fact that VortiX, he done the taboo. He done some of the H3 players never want to do. Something that gets used against them. They don't build ranged. And yet every stage in this game, which has been a dub for VortiX, has been off the back of the range. From the archers to the crossbows to the siege, all of it leads to a second point on the board.
Good game indeed. Wow. It's really amazing to see VortiX there going for archers and crossbows there. I mean, not something we see from the Holy Roman Empire often whatsoever. But in that situation, up against Janissaries, it's worth it. I mean, it's such an expensive unit to make. So it's worth making archers and crossbows up against that.
Also, if you like do the maths on it, like crossbows do pretty well against Janissaries, right? They have similar damage output, but they have more range. So it's kind of a weird one, right? Because like when you look at the base, it's I think 12 damage. The Janissaries are 16, but they're similar health pool. But usually you move slow with the crossbows. However, it's the HRE, so they always have the marching drills to bring them up to the same speed as Jannies. Like, it's actually a desirable fight for crossbows. I love that read from VortiX. Like, at first it looks weird because you're like, bro, he's not building heavily armored units. But then you just remember, you know, if your choice is archers or crossbows, you know, the base damage difference almost always just makes crossbows feel better.